Welcome to Blaze Street Banner. One of us knows what the word banter means, and the other one is just along for the ride. What's up, Isaac?
What is up?
Anything new with you?
Today no, actually. Today's been a pretty boring day. I've been waiting for this podcast. How about you,
We've been
Lucas?
waiting a couple days. We've planned this every day for the past 3 days, but we're
Yeah.
finally here, and we're gonna rip the Band-Aid off here, Isaac. Another week of trivia for me. Last week I went 0 for 3. What is the category? What are we doing here today?
All right. Today we're going to be guessing the top 5 leaders in home runs for the Rockies since 2017.
All right. So I'm just gonna list off. I think I got this right. Ryan McMahon.
Yep.
Is he 1?
No.
Charlie
He
Blackmon.
is number 3. Charlie Blackmon's number 1.
Brendan Rodgers.
Nope. Strike 1.
Nolan Arenado. Did he sneak in there?
Yep. Number 4.
Okay. Now you're giving me strikes here, and I'm worried. CJ Cron.
Yeah, that's number 5. That was the tricky one.
So which one are we missing?
We're missing number 2.
Number 2. Is he an active player? Probably not, right?
I don't know.
Elias Diaz.
Strike 2. Yeah, you have one more guess, man.
I have one more guess. We'll go Trevor Story. I don't think he ran into that many.
Trevor
Oh, it
Story
is?
is Trevor
Okay.
Story, number 2. Coming through.
All right. A lot of it pains me how many before 2020 guys there are, or before 2021.
Yeah, all of them
With
except
one
for
active
Brown
player.
played before 2020.
Yeah. And that one active player is in trade talks, so we're not even looking good on that front. But let's talk about some more transactions as the Rockies find themselves down already, 1-0 in the first inning to the Cubs. That's going to be like an evergreen statement for people who listen to that in a month from now. Rockies are losing 1-0. But let's get into some transactions here. Guy who's making his Rockies debut tonight, Orlando Arcia, potentially the most random signing the Rockies have ever made. Of course, we'll get to why that's even more random because we have some guys in the minors that are killing it. But Isaac, what are your takeaways from this Orlando Arcia move?
I mean, at this point in the season, I'm assuming that the Rockies are just trying to find a spark plug. And for Orlando Arcia, he's had over 10 home runs in the last 3 years. So it could be something that's looking good, but I mean, he's a couple steps below Ezequiel Tovar. He swings a lot. He doesn't have that much power, despite his 10 home runs streak he has.
7 years older, too.
7 years older. He strikes out a bit. His fielding isn't that great. He's DHing tonight. It's kind of frustrating when you know that we have inland options and we're resorting to a veteran that isn't going to contribute much to the team.
Yeah, where was my grad party invite? I asked for it on the Instagram, Isaac, and I never got it.
It's this Saturday, so you can still pop out.
I'll fly over to Cedar Rapids and
right.
I'll show up.
I appreciate it.
No, I mean, I agree with everything you said. Really random player, DFA'd by the Braves, and I know the Mets and Yankees actually wanted him on a minor league deal, so that's something I guess he was somewhat wanted, but we bring him in on a major league deal. DHs today, which I'd much rather that DH spot go to a younger guy to get more at-bats, maybe like a Toglia, maybe just get him off the first base so he can get back into the rhythm of hitting. But, yeah, I mean, we can only complain for so long, but let's go and just go to the second move. Angel Chavilla gets demoted. If I'm not mistaken, that's actually the roster spot that made the Orlando Arcia roster spot. Am I right on that?
No, you're not. Victor Vodnik was just
So
reinstated from the IL.
Gotcha.
But
and then so we'll see him down in AAA. And then your boy David Lee, whose father is David Lee, who I thought it was kind of funny that they didn't put Junior behind his name. They just kept David Lee. I don't know how that works, like legally or logistically, but sign with the Rockies. Give us a rundown on David Lee. I know he's absolutely yoked. That dude is a bodybuilder. It's crazy.
Huge. David Lee, his father played for the Rockies in like 1995 to 1997, I believe. And I mean, his background as a pitcher is pretty solid. He throws a mid-90s fastball. He has a slider that has above average spin, and he has a splitter that works well. In college, he only pitched one season at like a good school. I believe
Penn State.
it was Penn State, yeah. And before that, he was at, I don't know, maybe you can dig that up for me really quick. But he didn't perform well while he was at Penn State, and his career before that wasn't great. But when we're looking at like pure numbers, pure skill, David Lee is a professional baseball-esque player, and he's a guy that you want to be on a team. So these next couple of seasons in the ACL, we could see him throwing on the mound.
Carlton. Is that the same guy? Maybe. I don't. It might not. It might be a different David Lee, but I got Carlton.
Think it's the same David Lee.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
But I don't also see his Penn State season. But might be the wrong guy. But shout out David Lee regardless. Whichever one went through at Carlton as a reliever. Aaron Shunk sent back down. Good for Shunky that he was able. I don't root for injuries, but if you're gonna get injured as a prospect, get injured on the MLB IL. Get the bag while you're hurt. And so I'm glad Shunk went down and wasn't anything major, but he was on the MLB IL, which good for him. So, but he gets sent back down to AAA, and then Tyro Estrada gets some run in AAA, and we'll see him probably in a week or so in the lineup. What are your thoughts on this middle infield problem that we have, and what do you think the solution is?
I think the problem is evident of there being one spot, and the Rockies are giving that spot to 30-year-olds. And I think the only solution to fix that is get those 30-year-olds not in the lineup and call up your guy Ryan Ritter, who's been on an absolute hammer as of late. Do you have any dig on his numbers recently? Is it like 7 home runs in his last?
It's 5 home runs in the past 2 games.
That's absurd.
He has 11 games, maybe 12 games now of an extra base hit. It's just absurd what he's been doing. He's walked off. He walked off like 3 times in a week or something. He had a 3-run walk, right? Let's not forget about the 3-1. Don't forget about that. The glove is there too. We love him. I'm not going to talk about Ryan Ritter. I'm going to let you talk about Ryan Ritter because I talk about him every week on this pod. And every week he gives us a reason to talk about him. But this week it almost feels like it's like almost like a national thing. I see like Pipeline and Baseball America now tweeting about him. So that's pretty awesome as the 10th ranked prospect. I think he was higher for us. But just a guy that I'm just going to, you talk about Ryan Ritter. I talk about him every week. This is all you.
Okay. Ryan Ritter this season, he has a WRC plus of 137. And if you guys don't know how WRC plus, 100 is the average. So Ritter has a 137 WRC plus. That means he's 37% above average. And then that's accustomed to like league average. So he will be in the Pacific Coast League where it's a hitter-friendly park. And he's 37% better than every hitter in the PCL, who are all doing really good there. And going into 2025, there were like underlying concerns of like swing and miss. Is his defense legit? Is he going to strike out a lot? And he's really proving everybody wrong. Ever since his first year in the minors in 2023, he has decreased his strikeout percentage every season while rising through the system. Now he's at AAA and he's striking out the least he ever has before. And that is something really encouraging with the guy who has had an issue with striking out a lot. And on top of that, his power has been amazing. He already has 14 home runs this season in just, 46 games? And you can like factor into the high elevation of Albuquerque and the other stadiums in the Pacific Coast League. But I honestly think that his frame, his swing is a lot stronger than it was when he was drafted. He's looking like a major league baseball player, and I really cannot see an argument against it right now.
I remember in the beginning of the AA season last year, he struck out on like a slider way away. And I just randomly tweeted like, oh, Ryan Ritter just had a Javi Baez strikeout back when Baez was doing that. And that's like the only time he's liked one of my tweets was that one tweet of calling him out on the Javi Baez strikeout. And I was like, no, this is the one tweet you see. So hopefully he sees all my other ones. The one negative one is the one that he saw though. But he's going to probably have those moments if he gets up to when he gets up to the MLB. He's going to have those strikeouts. He's going to look rough a little bit. Very few prospects get called up and then immediately look really good. With like Nick Kurtz, as we saw, like first couple weeks he was kind of brutal, but now we're kind of seeing him. And that was the guy that was raking in the PCO, hitting home runs left and right. And it's a tough. So I don't want people to come in here thinking he's like immediately going to be like a contributor at the level of like of Vlad was his first week.
Right.
One of those, even like a PCA now. But you give him time, he's going to be a really reliable guy. As Steven said in the chat, out of the park legend, him and Romo both are just the best players to have. So hopefully that pans out. Hopefully their scouting department's better than everybody else's in the world right now. I love Ritter. Defense is going to be there. I almost wonder if he can play third. I think the arm strength is maybe good enough to do that. I know McMahon could be on the trade block. There's interest in him. And then you have like a Karros who is he ready? I know he's currently hurt. I think it's like a bone bruise or something, but he'll be back. I just don't know what the Rockies do at third base. Could Ritter be the answer? I know they're trying Freeman there, so maybe that's going to be something they do. But who do you think in August the third baseman is every day?
That is a tough question. With the Rockies, I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a Kyle Karros, maybe a Tyler Freeman. I'm not sure if he's played third base much in his career. But I love the idea of having Ryan Ritter at third base. I believe that his arm strength is good enough to translate. He has the natural instincts of an infielder. I mean, as long as the bat plays, the Rockies are going to find a way to get Ryan Ritter into the lineup. And I think that should be the thought process we all should be having right now towards the development of this team going into this season.
Well, you got to also wonder, like, they have to be, if they're having that mindset, Orlando Arcia's bat plays as well, according to their mindset. So they're going to get him in the lineup no matter what. So, and you got to get Kyle Farmer at bats too. So the Rockies' mindset is really weird. Like, you're right. If someone's hitting as well as they are, you should find a way. Look at what the A's did with their corner outfield problem, right? And they somehow just found a way to add another corner outfield, despite only having two of them. They have like four of them out there somehow. They make it work. If you can, I mean, look, we love defensive players. We love Doyle, right? We love Tovar. We love these defensive guys, even Romo. But at the end of the day, like, hitting will get you way farther. It'll probably get you paid way more. Like, that's what people want to see. And if Ritter can play an average third base and be an average hitter, that's probably one of our better players. So
right. I want to take a look at like Jordan Beck, for example. Jordan Beck, he started this season like on the bench half of the time. He struggled. Then he got demoted to AAA. He was able to pick it up at AAA, putting up good numbers, got called up to the MLB, and now he's our leadoff hitter, and also our second best statistical batter across the season. Ryan Ritter, he's performing better than Beck was during AAA, and I think Jordan Beck is a great example of if you can hit, you can play, and that's what Warren Schaefer and the Rockies are hopefully guiding into. And I think it'll be just a matter of days, weeks, before Ritter's up. I'm really looking forward to see him finally make that appearance.
Yeah, I mean, me too. I kind of hate that he's become like a mainstream guy because he was always a guy that, like, when talking about Rockies prospects, I kind of just be like, hey, by the way, guys, you guys may not know him, but Ryan Ritter, he's up next. And now everybody knows that name. So I got to find a new guy. But there's a question right here in the chat. Fresno Grizzlies, one of my favorite to watch. We have a couple guys that we think are going to rise, especially in system rankings. I'm going to give you one, Tommy Hopfy. That might be my next guy. Corner outfield guy at first base. Sneaky athletic, super athletic. Can steal bases and just mashes. So we'll get to him a little later. But Grizzlies, they have a couple guys. They love to play small ball, so they're stealing bases and stuff. So that's always fun to watch. But real quick, Isaac, let's go and get your number one take. Who has been the biggest riser in your eyes in the Rocky system so far?
Ooh, for a podcast about risers, specifically risers, I have to choose one. Oh, you're putting me on the spot. I honestly think a guy. Do you have somebody in mind? I might have to think about this a little longer.
Is this bad that we're not like immediately coming after a name?
If anything, that's good. We have so many guys to go off of.
I'm gonna go Jared Thomas.
Jared Thomas.
He's been just all around a great player. 309. 414 and 455 slash line, which that'll play in the Northwest League, especially early in the season. Not that much of an offensive league, although I do question with minor league baseball if you kind of see the same teams so often, especially in like the Northwest League has 6 teams. We've already played a couple of teams twice. I almost wonder if you like have a good scouting report and you can almost just like break against the same teams. That's a little theory I might dive into later, but he's only 21 years old. We talk about a guy like Ritter who's like 23, 24. You give Jared Thomas 3 years. I think he's also in Albuquerque mashing baseball. So just got to watch out for. I think Hartford call will be pretty soon.
Yeah, and you inspired me because my pick for my biggest riser, is McCade Brown. McCade Brown is a household name. He's been with the Rockies system since 22, I believe, and he's been solid ever since. What was it?
Indiana, right?
Maybe. Aaron would be the guy that would know that.
Yeah,
but
can't
make it today. Right. But McCade Brown, he fought through injuries. This is his first full season back since 2023, I believe. And I mean, he's killing it. He has the highest strikeout percentage out of any pitcher in high A right now at 35% while he's starting games. He has a 1.60 ERA in that span as well. And before, his like scouting report was he has a great fastball, he has a curveball that plays off of it, and he has a slider that induces a lot of whiffs. And this is something that we're seeing right now in high A, which, as you said earlier, a lot of players are friendly to hitting there as well. Or, yeah, that's right. Is it a hitter's league?
It's more of average, but I would say beginning of the year pitchers league. But if you compare his numbers to every other pitcher in the league, he's far and away one of the most dominant starters, right? And there's some good prospects. There's Gerangelo Sinji down there, and he's outperforming him. Granted, a little older for the level. I think he's 24. But this is a guy, like you said, like he's got a good fastball. Curveball and slider play really well. I love the slider. It'll play at Coors. So I almost wonder if I never want to say this about a starter, like, oh, he'll be really good as a reliever, because I think that almost insinuates he won't work out as a starter. But I think McCade Brown would be one heck of a reliever if that is the path he goes down.
I agree.
So we're gonna talk about some more guys. I'm gonna I don't know how you want to do this. Should we just go down the list we have, just one by one?
Yeah.
All right, let's go with Kyle Karros. Kyle Karros has been out for the last couple of weeks. But we talked on a little earlier, maybe the third baseman of the future. Defensively, won the Gold Glove last year in the Northwest League that we were just talking about. I do question that Gold Glove because there's only 6 teams. How many third basemen were actually eligible is my question. Maybe I'll have to dive into that too, because it could just be like 2 other guys, and he just happened to be the best. But the glove is still there. Like, I'm not trying to doubt it, but I'm trying to, I don't know, maybe question it a little bit. Only, like, how are you going to win an MVP or a Gold Glove when there's 6 teams? I feel like, I don't know. Anyways, a 182 WRC plus for the level, only a 22% strikeout rate. So that tells me, like, as a prospect, he's super refined, right? He's not going out there and whiffing a lot. And we'll get to later, there's a teammate of his that is putting up great numbers as well, but is whiffing a lot more. So Karros is a guy, of course, his family's bloodline of baseball. His dad, I think he's an announcer for, I want to say, the Dodgers, right? Played for the Dodgers. So we're getting a guy that we know genetically, it's in the genes, right, to be a good baseball player. So,
yeah.
And he's a huge guy. Just shout out him. I think he's going to make a top 100 list here pretty soon. They love to put those AAA, AA guys up there. Pipeline does, mainly because they have like the competitive balance round pick thing. But that's one of my guys I'm looking for. He's so fun to watch. Had the walk off on opening night. He's really refined his game, because I remember earlier or last season it was like a lot of sliders got him. But every time I've watched him, he's been not as prone to that as he was. Granted, I'm not watching every game, or every at bat of his, but I don't know if you have anything else on Kyle Karros.
Kyle Karros is just a super typical hitter. His scouts think that he's like susceptible to swing and miss low in the zone on off speeds, but early in games this season, he's done a good job at laying off those, especially at AA when breaking balls are beginning to be really located well and being consistent. I think he's done a great job, and after his injury, I'm excited to see if he maintains at that same track.
Yeah, I mean, he's been out for a couple weeks now, but I think he just fouled something off his leg. Like when I went back to watch, so I think we're nothing too big there, but we'll get going on next here. Brody Brito, this is a guy that I know this is one of your guys. Tell us about the 18-year-old that is just mashing right now in the ACL.
Yeah, Roldy Brito. These Dominican prospects that we raise can be so fun. And a reason that Roldy Brito is so fun is that he has one of the best plate disciplines in the entire system. At just 18 years old, he already has a 471 on base percentage while hitting 375. And that is where is it? 11 walks opposed to 14 strikeouts in just 16 games. He's getting a lot of great results. And a lot of that can be it might be something that the Rockies have done a good job with, just with prospects and their disciplines, as we've seen with Adrian Pinto, Juan Brito, Adael, Amador. But Roldy Brito, he has a solid bat, hits the ball well, 8 stolen bases too. He's a really typical leadoff hitter in like the 80s. And I'm excited to see if he adds on any power or refines his approach to become more like major league caliber. But 18 years old, potential is there. Time will tell how he will do later on in his career.
Yeah, for all the people out there that are always pessimistic about the Rockies, go look at the past DSL standings for the past decade. The one team that is always constantly at the top are both of the Rockies teams in the DSL. It's just one of the parts of the org that I don't think you can attribute any of the current losing to. They've done such a good job. We see currently with prospects that we have currently just how good they have been, especially growing. Like it's really easy to dominate in the DSL than come over stateside and kind of lose that prospect status. But just shout out the DSL guys, shout out the Latin scouts that are going out there and just killing it. Like there's a lot of teams that you don't see a lot of these guys make a difference. We see like the Padres where it's like they're going to sign one guy and that's probably it. And so shout out. The one thing that I think the Rockies do really well, and you can't front them or can't get mad at, it is the DSL scouting. So
100%.
We have a couple more guys there, but I don't want to spoil it. McCade Brown we already talked about. Braxton Fulford is a guy I want to just kind of remind everyone. He was raking. He was the best minor league hitter at the very beginning of the season. He gets a call up, hit a home run, then he gets sent down. That's just we kind of figured he was on a short leash there, more of like a transactional thing and not like a this is your moment thing. 311, 394, and 632 slash line will play. A lot of swing and miss, especially in the MLB level. But a guy that, look, he's going to play a good catcher. I was almost throwing out of first base. I think he'd be the shortest first baseman in the league if they did that. So probably not the option, but I'm just throwing anything out there. You got anything else on Fulford?
Braxton Fulford is what he does everything really well. He doesn't do anything great per se, but he has a bat that will potential to hit 250. He can hit out 15 home runs in a season. He has power. He's solid behind the plate. Just a really solid baseball player. And like when given the opportunity, he will get solid results presumably. And I like that about Fulford.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So Fulford brings up a good question with this Rockies team. The Rockies currently have -2 WAR as a team, which means a replacement level player. 0 WAR, I think there's like a misconstrued here. 0 WAR is not average. 0 WAR is replacement level. Yeah. Like a free agent you can readily get. Like a guy you can just plug in no matter what. The Rockies are somehow worse than that as a team. So hypothetically speaking, a guy like Fulford, a guy like Ritter, they should break into this team pretty easily. Because I think of those guys, if you're looking at the guys that are dominating in AAA, you'd probably go ahead and say that's at least a little above replacement level. Or if not, that is replacement level, which we are below that as a team.
Right.
So I don't know. There's part of me that thinks maybe the replacement level thing is kind of off and maybe 0 WAR is above replacement level and we're just kind of calling it that. Or the Rockies could just be like an MLB thing. Could be just the Rockies. Anything else? Like, are you thinking that? Are you kind of picking up what I'm putting down there?
Kind of. Well, yeah, I am. I like to
we have -3.7 offensive WAR.
Yeah, our
So
pitching has been better than our hitting, which is kind of ironic with
it's
Coors
wild.
Field and everything.
We're throwing Tanner Gordon out there. So shout
But
out
there
to
are a lot of
Tanner Gordon's actually shoving. So
is he?
one and run, we'll take it.
There's a lot of projection websites that will like put out a number for what a guy's WAR will be, and for Ritter, they're all like predicting around like 0.2, 0.3 across X amount of games, and I'm pretty sure Braxton Fulford is around that same place. So they would be slightly above replacement level or exceptionally above replacement level with how Lewis is thinking.
Yeah, I mean, because there are players who have like, who's the guy on the White Sox? There's a guy on the White Sox with like negative 1.7 WAR already. It's the first baseman. Anyways, he's got like a 170 batting average. But anyways, just I feel like the WAR thing. Maybe this is a topic for another day, but maybe we replacement level. At least as a Rockies fan, maybe all 29 MLB teams, or maybe 28, the White Sox maybe, may view this differently. But currently, getting a player that is replacement level seems kind of tough for us, right? We call a guy up and they struggle, right? If you sign a guy to a 7-year, $182 million deal, all of a sudden they're below replacement level. So at least for me, like I feel like we throw around replacement level a little too much when I'm watching a lot of guys who are below replacement level currently. Like we have the 16 payroll. We can't replace these guys with replacement level players.
Yeah, I don't know. That is tricky.
Like it's just I don't know how. Maybe that's if we finish the season off with a negative WAR, which means we are below replacement level. Like that should be like an automatic firing. Like they should like make a rule where it's like if that happens,
to see if that's happened.
It has to be the White Sox. But even then, like we're on pace for like 25 wins, and we're only like 2 WAR in the negative. Only 2 WAR in the negative. It's like Aaron Judge's current WAR.
Yeah, negative 3.6 F WAR.
Wow, who was it? Oh, that's it us
this year. I'm gonna check last year.
Who leads the league in WAR? This is a tangent, but
we're gonna have an entire podcast about this next Friday. Be prepared. That's a joke. All right.
Dude, I just realized next time, like when like they'll be like all men talk about is WAR. All right.
Yeah. All right.
Aaron Judge has 4.7. That's insane.
That is
4.7 WAR.
Okay, last year the White Sox ended with a negative 6.3 WAR. We're about halfway there, a quarter or third way into the season. Nice. Okay, next riser that I want to talk about is.
Hold up, real quick. You want to guess who's the lowest WAR on the Rockies
right now?
Yeah.
Antonio Senzatella?
No, it's
a hitter.
Toglia with negative 1 WAR.
Oh, I knew that.
Yeah, and he'll get it back. Don't worry.
He will. He will.
He's 1 week away.
Very streaky hitter.
1 week away from being 3 weeks away. But next guy, Isaac, you want to go and give us the name?
Next guy I really want to talk about is Connor Van Scoy. And I have a good question about him.
Yes, Big Pharma.
Yeah, big pharmacy. Yes. But Connor Van Scoy last year, he ended the season as one of the best starters in the entire organization quietly. His last 82 innings that he pitched, he had a 2.74 ERA, and that was in Double-A too. Where when you see a guy really excelling in Double-A, he's gonna get a shot. He's gonna be thought of highly. So when the Rockies re-signed him to a minor league contract this season and sent him to Triple-A, that's a really good test to see if the guy is sustainable. And in just over 20 innings pitched, he has a 3.10 ERA in the Pacific Coast League as well. There's nothing about his pitch repertoire that screams Major League Baseball pitcher, but his pure execution is one of the most is one of the best in the league. He executes his pitches. He knows what pitches work well, where they work well. And that raises the question: do we see a guy like Connor Van Scoy get the call? For pitchers in the Rockies system, if you perform, you do really well. Connor Van Scoy is not a top prospect. He's just now coming out of the bullpen for the first time ever, but he's still getting numbers even in the toughest league in all of professional baseball. Do you think a guy like him can get a shot at the big leagues?
I mean, 6'6", 234, he's going to be one of those guys that out of the bullpen that just kind of looks. I remember Jeff Hartley was 6'8". And for some reason, when I think of a reliever, I think of tall and one of those tall and big.
Yeah.
He fits the mold. And like you said, he's dominating, goes from the starter to the bullpen in Albuquerque. Usually that's what happens. You play in Hartford and sometimes you get stuck to the bullpen. And I think he's making the most of it. We see a lot of guys sometimes fall off when that happens, but he's continuing to dominate. I also think his hometown is producing good Rockies podcasters too. So
some of the best in the world.
So there might be some bias there.
Van Scoy's high school alum is my high school's rival school, so him and I have a connection there.
Yeah, basically best friends. I heard you and Connor.
Yeah,
that's go way back.
We talk all the time. Yeah.
I will say Rockies, they have a thing for Angels 11th round draft picks. Him and Albright, both in Albuquerque. Kind of odd that we have both of those guys both drafted out of high school. That's what the 11th round is sometimes for, but just fun that we have that connection there. And I like the pick. I think there's been some pitchers that I have assumed they would almost flame out in Albuquerque, Mason Albright and CBS, and they both have done amazing things. And you don't see that often with guys that go from Hartford. Hartford's normally more of a pitching environment, or it's a lot easier to pitch, especially in the Duncan Stadium, Dunkin' Donuts Field. And you go to Albuquerque, if the Rockies play on a moon, Albuquerque, they play on Mars. So I don't know how that would work. I don't know if that makes sense, but
no.
Okay. Let's go to my next two. Two of my favorite prospects in Spokane, and look, Spokane's gonna have the Jared Thomas. It's gonna have the Cole Messinas. We have McCade Brown up there. Aiden Longwell and Braylon Wimmer both, I think, do things very well. We'll go one by one. Aiden Longwell, contact first. He's gonna run into home runs because he's gonna make good contact, and he's gonna be. You don't get to, I think Charlie Blackmon once said, he doesn't look to hit home runs. He looks to make good contact, and that will lead to home runs. We see that with Longwell, who's running into long home runs. And Braylon Wimmer, who's kind of this, jack of all trades guy, stealing tons of bases, getting on base, just hitting the ball way better than I thought he would, especially coming from offensive environment in Fresno. Just full season, these two have been probably the best duo, right? In probably the Rockies system. I say Cole Carrick and Karros, so I guess I'll correct myself there. But both shockingly putting up very good performances, and I think this could just keep going. One of these guys will be in Hartford soon, so hopefully they just keep balling out. Anything else on those two?
I think you pounded the bear really well there.
Yeah. No, I agree. I killed that.
Okay. There's a guy I want to talk about and making a stateside debut, Lewis. His name is Wilder Dallas.
It's my boy.
It is your boy. I don't know if you want to talk about him, but
you got it. Well, let me pull up the article I sort of made.
Okay.
Look, as a 16-year-old, he was assigned to the DSL. He played just 27 games his first season, struggled a little bit. 2024, he broke out, led the DSL in RBIs with 49, had a 327 average, walked more than he struck out, stole tons of bases, showed tons of promise, and he finally got his shot stateside. 2025, he's in the ACL, hitting nukes, stealing bases, doing everything else. Do you want to elaborate a little more on that? I went kind of through his career there, but you want to elaborate on what makes Wilder Dallas so good?
Yeah, he just has a good feel for hitting, and the younger that you get a better feel, I feel like the better you're going to do at the lower levels. And Wilder Dallas, given any situation, he was a guy who wasn't signed for much. He was pretty much unknown before the...
Signed in May. He was signed late into the than the whole sign when kind of all your pool is taken up and you're kind of just grabbing whatever you can at the end there.
Yeah.
And
as a last option type of player, which I don't like to say, he is exceeding way more expectations. He's just a good baseball player, and I'm happy to see him breaking out this year.
And if I'm not wrong, I think he's getting reps at third base right now.
Yeah. I think they're giving him reps at third base, short, and second.
There you go. So infield.
If we're looking at a utility guy, we'll be seeing him at most levels of minor league baseball in the coming
years. I would say very randomly, they're giving Daniel McElvany, who's also been a guy that's been breaking, I think, a WRC plus 140 in the ACL. Only 9 games, though. But he's played those 9 games in left, right, and catcher, mostly in right field. So definitely a utility guy, 6th-round pick from Boston. Just a guy to keep your eye on because he might be in Fresno here soon. I know Fresno got Derek Cope. Is that his name? Derek Cope? Okay. Who's breaking, obviously, because he was in AAA earlier. So one of those guys that kind of goes up and down. I wonder if we see him go back up to Spokane or something, and we can get McElvany at bats and just a utility guy. And he's done more than I thought he would, especially early, coming to the Rockies and kind of just being thrown into this utility role. I kind of figured it'd be tough to translate or tough to catch on, but he has. So hopefully he gets that Fresno call up here soon. There's a couple more DSL guys or ACO guys I want to talk about. Or at least one of them, Alexander De La Cruz. And, of course, if I'm not wrong, he's from Germany?
He was born in Germany, Berlin, Germany, then moved to the Dominican Republic at a young age. Grew up in the DR. But he's my favorite prospect in all of minor league baseball. And that's saying something because I have a lot of my favorite prospect changes each week. But this is his first week back because of an injury. Oh, I'm not sure what his injury was, but this week was his first week back.
You gotta DM him, Isaac. You gotta ask.
I did DM him, but he gave me no answers.
So he's keeping hush hush.
Yeah.
I mean, that means he's all good then, you know.
Yeah. He's playing games. He's batting 4th as their cleanup hitter in the ACL. 148 WRC plus. That's due to his exceptional bat to ball skills. But if we're looking at a prospect and we're thinking of a prospect who has a lot of raw power, I've said this in previous podcasts, but like Yanquiel, Fernandez, Charlie Condon, Robert Calaz, the 3 of them have great raw power. And Alexander De La Cruz is not far behind them. A teenager who's hitting the ball consistently over 110 miles per hour. It's super encouraging, and it's unfortunate that other prospect sources haven't been able to talk about Alexander yet. But he's bound to be a top Rockies prospect soon. And we're going to see him on many top prospect lists after this season. And that's not even a hot take.
Yeah, I remember I don't know if you said it during the pod, maybe it was after one of the pods, and you were like, how is this guy not on anyone's list? You were really upset, that no one's caught on to this guy's level of play yet.
I was rather angry.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple more guys I want to keep. I'm just shout out. Yaker is a guy that not hitting the ball well with 13 stolen bases, but 19 years old in A-ball, he'll catch on here soon, no doubt about it. And Kelvin Hidalgo has 20 stolen bases, which one of the most fun players to watch. He kind of reminds me of Felix Tena last year. Kind of the same. Is that a good pull? I don't know. Maybe I gotta pull out Jason Hinchman here soon. I gotta find a comp for him.
Wow.
Yeah, so just a guy who can steal bases, gets on base, only 20. So we'll see. Still has a lot of frame to fit in. He's 6'1", and I think he's only 160, so he still has a lot of frame to fit into, and power will come when he does that.
Yeah, and I mean, he already has a really strong, one of the faster swings in the entire system, and he controls the bat pretty well. And eventually, when you have fast swings and you can find the barrel well, home runs are inevitable. And we're starting to see that. Whenever he's pulling the ball, pull side, he's hitting home runs and hitting doubles and hitting triples. What you expect out of a 20-year-old shortstop who has a great feel for the game.
Yeah, he's one of the more fun prospects. And do you have any relieving prospects you want to, outside of the one obvious, I guess we'll save till last. I haven't said anything about Cole Carey. Cole Carey, 258, 358, 477, 8 home runs. Strikeout rate is 28%. So we got to look at that. It's a lot lower than it was earlier in the season, so I will give him that. I'm definitely working on that as the season progresses.
Yeah.
He's fun, though, right? Of course, he's playing the outfield, and one of those guys that just you watch him play, and he's like a lightning bolt, right? He's fast, and he'll run the bases on, and he'll steal bases, and I guess he's not much as a riser as he's kind of like maintained his weight because he's already kind of known nationally. I know a lot of people love to collect his cards and stuff. So,
yeah.
Anything else on Cole Carey? I know he's just kind of one of the more fun guys out there.
Yeah, and I mean the fact that he's like sustaining his numbers pretty well is making him rise as a prospect as it is, and that's as much as I got. You asked me if there's a reliever that I like. And I want to go down to Fresno and touch on Fidel Uloa. Great mustache.
This is the third week in a row we've struggled with that.
Yeah, third week in a row we can't get his name down. But he has, if I'm not mistaken, I was looking at the numbers earlier. I don't have them in front of me, but I think he has the highest or the best ERA, best fielding independent pitching FIP in the system not in the system, but in Fresno. He's doing the job, getting the job done, consistently putting up numbers. He's a guy who can get a call up to Spokane simply due to the success that he's seeing.
Yeah, I mean, 11 strikeouts per 9. We're going to go with a 1.73 ERA. So I think he is the ERA leader currently if you take out like Luke Taggart, who's gotten injured earlier in the year. Yeah, it's a great call. LSU guy through and through. I remember we drafted him. I think I wrote something when you drafted him, and then I think his father's a painter or something. A couple guys I do want to call out a little more relieving wise. Sam Weatherly striking out like 13 per 9, crazy strikeout numbers there. Brady Hill, I know he's a little older for A-ball, but 15 per 9. And then like Matt Turner gets the call up to AAA. Shout out Matt Turner. Maybe there's a move for the soccer Matt Turner too. So we'll see. I think he's. That's soccer talk. Let me avoid that. Anyway, he's a 12 per 9. Jeffrey Yan is 12 per 9. Yan's a guy who I think Rockies fans want him to play, despite I think his numbers are really good right now, actually, in AAA. But if you look at his historic numbers as a baseball player, there's one big thing that he doesn't do well, and it's hit the strike zone. And we've seen that happen in Colorado, and we see what happens to – we see how opposing players take advantage of that, basically, is what I'll say. So I'm a little worried for Yan. I mean, the story's not over for him, though. So hopefully, if he gets the call-up, he has good enough stuff that if he can just find the strike zone, he'll be fine. Granted, he's not 23, he's 28, so it's really tough for that to be the problem. Cade Denton, kind of the same thing, but he's 23. Striking out tons, not walking as much as Yan, of course, but great strikeout stuff. I think he's going to get the call up to AA here soon. I think it's like 13 strikeouts per 9. And then Jordy Vargas, I'll just call him out for 12 strikeouts per 9. Those are like when I look at like relievers or potential relievers, I look at like how many guys are you striking out versus how many guys are you walking, right? And I don't really try to look at ERA, although it is kind of flashy when someone has like a 0.3 ERA. But those are the guys that I really like. Sam Weatherly is the guy that I think at the end of the year could be in the bullpen for the Rockies.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think does that just do it for us? Is that all we're doing?
I mean, there's a guy named Wellington Herrera in this.
Oh, how did I forget the closer?
Yeah,
the closer of the episode. Yeah,
you were referencing earlier. But the other day I was driving and I was thinking, when Wellington Herrera got called up to high A last year, he struggled. He wasn't doing as good at as he was in single A. And so this year, he started off the season in high A. He was killing it, got the call up to double A, and he's not doing as good as he was before. Still doing good, granted. Does this mean that next year he starts the year in double A, kills it, then gets the call at triple A, so on until he's in the MLB? Is that what we're looking at?
If life is linear, then
that's what's going to happen.
That's what's going to happen, yeah. And that's kind of my thought with like, well, you could say Agnos though too. At this time, Agnos was dominating high A. Now he's dominating the MLB. Could it maybe be an Agnos thing where next year he's in the MLB dominating? Could he do the Agnos path? I remember last year I was in the gym, and usually what I do when I go to the gym late at night, and I have like Fresno or Spokane game on in my ear. I remember there's one game he closed out. Agnos closed out, and I was thinking to myself when he went on a yak like a barstool thing today, and I was like, wow, like a year ago I was listening to this guy play in Spokane when I was in the gym talking about how I remember I called him Mr. Reliable because he would close every Spokane game out and it was automatic. And I was like, wow, we've come such a long way in so short of a time for Agnos. Now he's like on Barstool and people know him. People love the stash, which I love. So
doing some shoulder press while listening to Zach Gagno's closing games.
No, dude, that's why I miss Stephen Rice. You know, when you're in the gym and you have Stephen Rice in your ear, like, yeah, no, like, you know how easy that was.
If he could make a playlist of him just his baseball calls, I would. That would be my hype.
Dude, I remember like Andy Perez hit like a double with the bases loaded. He was like, I forgot what he said, but he was like, "Oh my bananas, Andy Perez" or something like that. It was so funny. Miss Stephen Rice. He does card shows now, and I went to go like join one, and my account was like undefined or something. So it was just really weird. He's like, "Oh, you're undefined. We don't know who you are." And I went to go fix it, and he just wouldn't let me fix it. So bad. He doesn't know it was me. Gosh. I said G's up, and I thought I would be the only one saying G's up. So I was like, "Oh, he's gonna know it's me." He didn't. But it's
like super niche.
That's what I'm saying. G's up is really niche. Like, who knows? Anything else for the good of the cause, Isaac?
There are a lot of guys that we probably missed. If we're looking at risers, a lot of guys are doing well in the system right now. It's fun to look at. I don't know if anybody in the comments right now or anybody listening to the podcast, you think that we're missing anybody, feel free to comment down and make Lewis and I feel foolish.
I say, if you made it this far, you probably know a couple guys that we missed.
Yeah, for sure. But that's my takeaway.
You made it this far. Go and just join the pod with us. You know?
Yeah. Join the little box below, as I was first couple pods.
Yeah, you got to work your way up. I remember my first pod. I was supposed to be like in the box, and then they were like, "Oh, Tyler can't make it. You got to be there." It's terrible. I might pull it up, and how awkward it was. I didn't.
Dude, I want to watch that. I wonder if it's as bad as my first.
I remember somebody stole jelly beans. Like, I forgot who it was, in the Giants clubhouse, and Aaron, like, at the end, like, brought up the story, and I was just like trying to make a joke, and I just couldn't. It's just brutal. I didn't know what to say.
Looks like nothing's changed since then, Lewis.
Yeah, dude, it's just bad night after. It's tough crowds, though, is what I'll say. Yeah.
There you go.
All right, so that does it. We'll be live next Monday talking about war, like we did today, and we'll further go into does war make sense? That's a deep question. All right, anyways, have a good night, guys. And go Rocks and minor league affiliates. Woo!